Hello friends, Yoram Solomon again. I'm going to share yet another technical video, tech tips for speakers. Somebody suggested that I monetize these videos. I don't want to monetize them. I get quite a few calls and emails and texts from speaker friends of mine who frankly I believe are worried about their ability to deliver a webinar. They feel so comfortable on stage, and I love being on stage. I love this a lot more than getting through a camera. But this is where we are right now, and we have to be able to do that. And we're probably going to do that for a long time after that. After we go back on stage, every now and then, we're going to have a client that says, I need you to be able to deliver remotely. Maybe an international client that says it's so much easier to get you over the internet than it is to bring you over here. It's something that's going to be part of our lives, and I feel that quite a few are nervous about it, and so this is why I'm doing those videos. I get nothing out of it, and if you feel that you're getting value and you do want to do something back, because reciprocity is a basic need. We feel that we owe something. If you want to do something back, the one thing, well, there are two things. One is I would like you to buy me a Boeing FA-18C full size, actually D, so I can carry somebody with me. If you don't know how to get me an F-18D, then at least subscribe to my YouTube channel. Get somebody else to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to build viewerships to my YouTube channel. So that's something you can do for me. But I'm not going to monetize these videos. So this is for you. This is to help you. This is not my business. What I do is I help organizations build trust, be trusted, and know who to trust. With that, this video will talk about cameras. And when I got certified by eSpeakers as a certified virtual presenter, they asked me how many cameras do I have, and I said I had two. And I had the C920 and I had the internal laptop camera. And so I said I have two. Well, that's not true anymore because I have four. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to compare the four. I'm going to show you what the quality is like and the pros and the cons of each one of them, because each one of them has pros and cons. There is not one camera that you're going to say, oh, I'm going to spend an unlimited amount of money and get this camera. There's not one probably that has zero cons, and we'll go through it. Right now you're seeing me through my DSLR Nikon D3500. It's an entry-level DSLR camera from Nikon, and I'm going to show you the other four. So in the next scene, what I'll do is I'll put all four of them in the same image to let you compare and see what they look like, and then I'm going to take one by one, show you what they look like separately, and then we'll talk about that. Sounds like a good plan? See you soon. Okay. For our next scene, we have four cameras, I put them in four different angles so that you'll be able to see which one I'm talking to you through and identify them. Actually, one good idea is I'm going to put little labels. So if I forget, then watch where I'm pointing. If not, then there are labels in the corner, no, the other corner of every image. Okay, so first one, DSLR Nikon D3500 entry level. Since the USB connection to the camera, and there is one, does not allow you to get high definition full screen, what I did was I took the HDMI output and through an adapter or a game capture. They have different names. Specifically, I'm using the Elgato HD60S. You may be good enough with the Elgato Camlink 4K. The reason I used mine is because it has an HDMI output and I sometimes use it for monitor, so I spent a little more money to get that one. Second camera, C920, the kind of the industry standard for webcams, high definition webcams. It is a 1080p camera, and I don't have the Brio. I'm probably not going to purchase the Brio. I'll talk about it though, because there are things that we can compare. Camera number 3, That's our laptop camera. This is the camera that comes with the laptop. In my laptop, it's in the top of the screen. In some laptops, it's in the bottom of the screen. This is the lowest quality camera. You don't carry any camera with you if you're doing this, if you need to be portable. However, it's a 720p. All the others are delivering 1080p or full HD. This one is only 720p, and there are things that you're gonna see quality, and I'll talk about it a little more. Finally, we have my iPhone camera that through Wi-Fi is connected to my laptop, and that's something to keep in mind. It's not a direct cable, but it's going through Wi-Fi. The iPhone I'm using right now is an iPhone 11. It's not the 11 Pro, but I can tell you that I got very high quality with the iPhone 11. With the iPhone 6s that I had. It was a 5-year-old phone, except when I traded it in for the 11, I don't have it and I can't compare it anymore. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch camera after camera and let them take the full screen just so that you can appreciate the quality. Okay, the first camera to take full screen is the C920. The C920, by the way, none of the cameras that you're going to see now, I did not use any properties, any special filters. You can even see the green screen. And I've let the cameras even do their own focus. So this is what it looks like if I let it do its own focus. I'm going to try and just for a second go into the camera functions and just say don't do autofocus. Let's just be at the right focus that's required for long distance. But that's what I get. I don't get something much better than that, than the C920. You can increase things. You can work on this, but this is the raw image that comes from a C920 before we start applying sharpness. So just again to give you a sense, if I apply sharpness through the camera itself, the image is probably going to look a little better, a little sharper. Well, it is a little sharper, but not necessarily better. So I'll go back to configure it and just choose the defaults. These are the camera defaults. This is what it comes with, and yeah, I can maybe even play with exposure a little. Just lower the exposure. That might give it a little better image, but again, this is the image that you get from this camera. So if you thought the C920 was not a great quality, this is the camera that comes internally in the laptop. Once again, there are things that you can play with. Right now I'm at default settings for the camera, so you can improve the quality a little, but it's really through applying all kinds of filters to work to compute and change the parameters and work on that, do signal processing to enhance it. But this is the raw image that comes from the internal camera. Camera number 3, now we're at the iPhone camera, and again, did not apply any filters, did not apply anything. This is just the quality of the camera. The iPhone 11 at the back has 2 cameras. I don't remember exactly when it uses one versus the other, and I'm sure that it's doing the right decisions to choose the best one, but that's the quality that you get without any filters, without messing with any of the parameters from the iPhone camera using the Kinoni EpoCam, the red app, the one that says high definition, that really transmits at high definition at 1080p. And finally, we're with the DSLR Nikon D3500. Again, this is the entry-level camera. The camera itself is about $400. And I did to you exactly what real estate agents used to do to me when I wanted to buy a house. And that is, they show you the worst possible house, then they show you one that's better, then one that's better. Actually, I started with the C920 and not the internal. The internal is the worst. C920 is better. Quality-wise, I'm not talking about other things, and I'll talk about other things too. Number 3 is the iPhone camera, and number 4 is the DSLR. In our case, Nikon D3500 entry-level DSLR with an Elgato HD60S, or you can use the Elgato Camlink 4K adapter from HDMI into USB. Now I'm going to talk a little more about the different cameras. But first, let me go into my natural environment. I'm back and I'm in my natural habitat, which would be the front seat of an FA18C or D version. Okay, that's not real. I'm using OBS. This is a virtual background. So we'll just take it off and now I'm just going to be boring. Okay, I'm going to compare the 4 different cameras and I'm going to compare them along several different aspects. And there is no one size fits all, because for each one of them, other things are going to be more or less important. And so I'm just trying to give you an overview. And I know that I see this question a lot. Which camera should I be using? And you saw that, heck, you can start with just the internal camera that already comes with the laptop. The only thing is that if you are going to give a high quality webinar, you want more than that. You want something that's more than that. Okay, I will tell you in a few minutes why I leaned forward right now, but I'll get to that because that's one of the comparison parameters. First, the image sensor size. Every camera has the most expensive, the most important element is something that's called the image sensor. The image sensor is a little device, it's a little electronic component that gets exposed to the image. The bigger it is, 2 things happen. One, it better responds to colors and brightness and darkness and all. And 2, it gets the higher quality image. The biggest image sensor you're going to get is with a DSLR camera. There's no doubt that's the biggest element. Now we start getting into the different cameras and how good the different elements and the resolution of the different elements that you're going to get from the cameras. And so the worst one is the one that comes with the laptop. The second worst, I would say, is the C920 or any other webcam for that matter. I would even say that the Brio is probably, it's better than the C920 because the element is a 4K element. So it actually has 4 times the number of pixels that are in that can be captured by a C920. A C920 can capture 1920 by 1080. The Brio can capture 3840 by 2160. So it's exactly double the width, double the height, 4 times the number of pixels. And I'll get back to why that is important. The iPhone camera is, we're getting into pretty good quality cameras. And finally, the DSLR has the best quality camera sensor of them all. So in terms of the size of the sensor and therefore the quality you can get out of the sensor, the DSLR is number 1. Second thing to keep in mind, optical zoom versus digital zoom or zoom altogether. If you are not going to have to zoom the camera, that's one thing. But in order to get exactly what you need in the image, so you don't have to zoom out or zoom in, if you can get what the C920 gets you without zooming in, then you get the entire resolution of the sensor. DSLRs actually have optical zoom. How do you know if you have optical zoom or digital zoom? Very simple. Is there anything that you can manually turn to move glass lenses forward and backward? DSLRs have them. No other camera does, or no other camera that I ever went through. The iPhone camera does not have optical zoom, it has digital zoom. The C920 does not have optical, it has digital. The laptop camera definitely only has digital. What does it mean to have digital zoom? To have digital zoom, right now, if this was the C920 or any other digital zoom camera, it can see everything here. If you want to zoom in on me, what digital zoom does is instead of moving a lens and using the entire sensor to capture the image, what it does is it says, let's just capture this area of the sensor, which might be, if you want two times zoom, 2x zoom, it really is only using 1/4 of the image sensor. And then what we're going to do is every pixel, we're going to turn it into 4 pixels. Guess what? You got zoom, you lost quality. Your image that used to be 1920 by 1080 all of a sudden is becoming, what would it be, 960 pixels by 540. So you get lower resolution image even though it takes the entire screen and you think that it comes across as 1080p. It's not. That's digital zoom. Optical zoom allows you to zoom in and out while using the entire size of the sensor. Point for the DSLR. And before we get overly excited with that point, there is a downside to it. And the downside is that it focuses on where you put it to focus. Yes, you can use autofocus, but autofocus in DSLR would require you to keep your finger on the button that takes the images. So the problem with the DSLR is that if I get too close, I'm going to here just use my finger. Look at the finger is completely out of focus. Whereas if you bring it up here, man, do you get a good image. I need to shave, don't I? That's okay. I will. Next video. So very good resolution when in a distance because you're using the entire sensor at the distance. However, as I try to move towards the camera, and sometimes I like to get closer to my audience, guess what? I was out of focus when that happens. Digital focus cameras, digital zoom cameras don't have that issue. They can actually focus on wherever you are. Of course, you can get them out of autofocus mode and into manual focus, in which case you're going to get exactly the same effect, but typically they would focus a lot, they would autofocus a lot better on you at different distances. So with this one, I need to manually change the focus and be happy with it and not really use the autofocus function of the camera. 3, battery. Internal camera. Don't worry about it. It uses the battery that's already in the laptop. You don't have to worry about battery. C920 or any other webcam that connects directly to the PC through a USB port. Don't worry about it. How's my New York accent? Don't worry about it. It's powered through the USB port. As long as the laptop has power, the camera will have power. If the laptop does not have any power, you have bigger problems than powering your camera. iPhone and DSLR have internal batteries, and they may run out. With the DSLR, what I did was I bought a power adapter. There's a power adapter that plugs exactly where the battery goes, and it has the shape of the battery, but it plugs into power. It was something like $20, but that keeps my DSLR on all the time. iPhone, I would just encourage you to have the charging cable connected at all times. If the charging cable is on, you got power. If not, there are all kinds of other devices. Or you can even use the wire plugging into a USB port in the laptop. And even though the image is still going to go wirelessly, the power is going to come through this cable and you're going to keep it powered. Next, USB versus HDMI. So I should say USB, HDMI, and Wi-Fi. Kinoni iPhone uses the Kinoni EpoCam app and it connects through Wi-Fi. If you have limited bandwidth of Wi-Fi, this is something that you should keep in mind. As much as I use this app, and I don't use it too much, but I use it enough, I have never had any glitch because Wi-Fi today runs at speeds that are way, way faster than the speed that you get your internet into the house with. And even more than that, way, way, way more than the speed that you really need to go on a Zoom call or any other video conference. So I wouldn't worry about it too much, but just keep in mind that Wi-Fi, that the iPhone connects through Wi-Fi, even if you use the cable from USB to power the iPhone. Obviously, the internal camera, you don't have to worry about USB, HDMI, or DVI or anything. It's connected internally. The C920 or any other webcam connects through USB, plugs into the USB. Now, the DSLRs, many DSLRs do have USB ports. There are ways to get the image out of the USB port. I'm not going to go into it because I played with it. I actually downloaded, I think, 4 different apps including apps from Nikon itself, apps that cost money to try and get full-size image, but that's not what they're aimed at. They're especially made to communicate with the camera and set the cameras, set parameters. So really the ability to get a view of what the camera sees is secondary. It's not to use the camera as a webcam. But those cameras, DSLRs, typically have HDMI ports, and HDMI ports such that you can get this out and with an adapter of HDMI into USB. And I mentioned two, both of them from Elgato. You don't have to buy something from Elgato. This is kind of the brand name in that it's not too expensive. I think that the HD60S that I bought was about $150. The Camlink 4K is about I think $120, $130. And you can find others that I'm sure are going to do the trick. Next one, the ability to control features. Okay, what I'm showing you is the OBS screen. I know it's kind of freaky because this is the screen and OBS sees OBS, which sees another OBS. I wonder how much processing power this takes. But let's take the C920 for a second. And actually, let's take the C920. When I double click, and this would work for any other camera, when I double click on the C920, this window opens, and when it opens, you can see that you have configure video. I think that the C920 probably has the biggest ability to control different videos, different features through OBS. It's very, very transparent from that respect. And so, you have camera control, which is more basic. This is zoom, and you see what happens. This is digital zoom. You see what happens. The quality actually goes down. It comes at the expense of resolution. You can play with focus, in and out. You can make, let's drag it back. You can make focus automatic. You can play with exposure. Keep in mind that playing with things like that can have an effect on chroma key and eliminating green screen. You can actually, only if you zoom, not if you did not know. Oh, even if you did not zoom, you can pan and tilt a little. So pan is right, left, tilt is up, down. I think that's not going to work unless we are zoomed enough and we have the ability to play with it. By the way, just in case you're seeing that I'm using the same shirt that I use for the different video, no, I'm not wearing the same shirt day after day after day. When I bought them, when I customized them, I actually got 6 of them. So I switched between the 6. Thank you for asking. Thank you for your concern. Next, video processor and amplifier. You can play with brightness, contrast, saturation. So we can go black and white or anything else in between. Sharpness, we can create. You can see the sharpness increasing here. White balance, colder, warmer, or anything in between. Even gain. And I don't typically, nope, that was too far. We went too far. Okay, I'm going to go back to defaults, or maybe not. I'm not going to go back to defaults. I'm going to go back here. And this is just to show you that the C920 has a lot of, a very strong ability to configurability of that camera through OBS. If I go to the iPhone is going to be a lot more limited. Okay, it's not connected anymore. The Elgato, so it's really my D3500, but if you think about it, the thing that's really connected is the Elgato card, and so it doesn't pass through a lot of a lot of controls to the camera. So there are only a few things that you can change here. I'm not even sure. Yeah, I can change a few things in the processor here. The processing of the image through the Elgato, but you can see that it is a lot more limited. One more thing I want to see, I'm not even sure that I remember ever seeing what the internal camera is. I did not add it here, so let's add. This is a reminder how you add things. Let's add a video capture device. We're going to add an existing, this is the Dell G7 internal, and let's see what kind of parameters do we have that we can change in this camera. Actually, quite a few. You can see I do not have the ability to zoom or to focus with the internal camera, but I can play with brightness, contrast, let's go black and white, or anything. I can play with gamma. There are certain things that I can play with. The highest ability to play with something is, as I showed you before, the C920 camera. It has a lot of control, a lot of functionality that can be controlled. And back to the main stage. See what I did there? Main stage. Don't you miss the main stage? Okay, back to the main stage. The ability to control features, timer. Remember that I told you that I leaned forward and that I will explain why? Well, you may want to check and make sure that those cameras don't have a timer that stops them. Internal camera doesn't have a timer. C920 or Brio does not have a timer. iPhone, I'm not sure if it does or does not, and I'm not sure if it varies when you plug it in. I don't think that it has a timer. DSLR cameras have a timer that can be set up to 30 minutes. The reasons for that are crazy. They are related to customs that you pay on cameras versus video cameras. So you will notice, and maybe you never noticed that before, you can use many of the newer DSLR cameras as video cameras. You can do that, but it can only take videos as long as 29 minutes and 59 seconds. And the reason is because if it took more than that, it will be categorized as a video camera, which could be subject to different tariffs and custom rates and so on. So you cannot do more than 30 minutes. DSLR cameras have this timer. You put them in live mode. It took me a while. First of all, it was set to 10 minutes, and I didn't understand why the camera just shut down. And so I got it back into live mode, and after 10 minutes, went away. And I started checking, and I found that there is a timer. I found where you can set the timer, cannot set it, could not set it for more than 30 minutes. I actually reached out to Nikon, and I said, I'm sorry, on your webpage, you have something that says, this is how you use DSLR as a webcam. Do you realize that you cannot do that for more than 30 minutes? And they said, well, that's a DSLR. Why do you have that on your website? Use it as a webcam. Do you know a lot of webinars or Zoom meetings that take less than 30 minutes? Well, they don't. They didn't have a good answer for me. They were just reactive to how do we sell more DSLR cameras? We know. We're going to tell you that you can use that as webcam. Still, it's my favorite one. The way around it, you know, when you're about to take a picture, actually, I'm going to show you with another DSLR camera, another Nikon. I still love Nikon. When you're about to take a picture, this is the button that you press. If you realize, if you know that, there are two levels. There's the first level that gets the camera to focus, and then the second one that actually takes the shot. All you have to do is just touch this. Don't go all the way, just touch this, and you would have extended your timer by another 30 minutes. So this is why every now and then when I give this, I lean forward a little, I touch the button, just barely touch the button, not hard, not to shake the camera and so on, but this is how it works. One more thing before I go to the price is I did say I'll talk about the Brio, the Logitech Brio. Logitech Brio has digital zoom as well. However, and this is the important part, you will typically not use more than 1080p. Heck, Zoom, I don't believe even passes 1080p. It used to record at 720p. I think that maybe with the latest version, 5.2, maybe now they can record locally at 1080p, which is a feature they used to have in the past and then eliminated it. Regardless, you're not going to use more than 1080p. You are not going to record yourself at 4K. Brio is a 4K camera, and you go, why do I need to spend more money on the 4K camera? And the answer to this is Brio is another camera with digital zoom, which means if you need to zoom, it will only take part of the sensor. And if it only takes part of the sensor, you're losing quality. Well, if you're starting with the 4K quality, you can zoom in twice, which it's really 2x, but it's only using 1/4 of the sensor, half the width, half the height, and that's still 1080p because the entire sensor gives 4K. This is the one reason why I would say get a Brio if this is what you choose. I believe that the, let's call it the official price, the MSRP, is $199 right now. You know, people are buying cameras like crazy, so the prices probably went up. So let's talk about price. The C920 regular price is around $60-$70. New, brand new. Right now, you know, it's everything is fair game, I guess. It's supply and demand, and everybody needs cameras. So the C920 should be about $60 to $70. The internal camera is free. It came with the $1,400 you spend on your laptop, or whatever you spend on your laptop. The iPhone, the camera is free, except for the $800-900 that you spend on your iPhone. The DSLR, you don't really need more than the entry-level DSLR. And the entry-level DSLR, like for me, the Nikon D3500, I don't remember what it is for Sony or Canon, but you know, it's a $400 camera. I think it's $500 with the lens. I had the lens from the original camera. I didn't need that. The lens that I was using is an 18 to 55 millimeter. You know, a very basic lens. You do want to have a lens with manual zoom that would allow you to zoom in a little or out. So I can go in. Now you're seeing parts of me you never wanted to see. Or you can go out. Of course, the more you go out, the higher the probability that you're going to catch all kinds of other things all around. But you can see the quality. And again, the biggest part here is that you are still using the entire image sensor at the highest possible quality this camera can deliver. One more thing is lighting. Make sure that you get good lighting. Make sure you get consistent lighting. If you're going to eliminate green screen, then just make sure that you do that. You light the green screen pretty homogeneously. Again, I hope this was helpful to you. I know that I get a lot of calls from fellow speakers asking me which camera do I use. I know that there are a lot of misconceptions. I hope that I cleared as much of it up. Again, if you really like this video and you think, what can I do for Yoram in return because he's not charging for this, he's not charging for those services, then number one still remains my top priority. If you can talk to Boeing and they can give you an FA-18D that you can give me as a present, that would be great. If not, just subscribe to my video, to my channel, YouTube channel. Get some of your friends to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's important to me now because I'm trying to increase my subscriptions, the number of subscribers I have. Thank you. I hope this was helpful. Be good. Be safe. I'll see you next time. I hate when this happens. I just remembered one more thing that I wanted to share with you, and that is, where do you put the camera? Try and put the camera in eye level. You can see that right now it's in eye level. My desk here rises. When I deliver webinars, I stand. When I stand, I engage more than I sit. Right now, I'm not trying to engage as much, so I'm allowing myself to sit down. But where do you put the camera? I typically put the C920 right now is on the top of the screen. It just rides on the top of one of my monitors. I have several monitors. The D3500 you see me through is on a desk size desktop tripod. It's a relatively small tripod. It's right behind the screen, and it actually, the lens just spills over the screen. The iPhone, I use another tripod. I put the iPhone on a tripod. There are adapters that you can put on the tripod itself, on the 1/4-inch screw, and they would hold the iPhone. If you're going to have an iPhone, make sure that you use it horizontally and not vertically, because you want to get a screen that has the same form factor of what your viewers, or of how your viewers are going to watch it. One other thing I should tell you, I don't know why the Kinoni EpoCam app, it actually, if you turn the phone around, your picture is going to be upside down. So unless you want your picture to be upside down, make sure that you put it such that the lenses are on the top. And obviously, where would you put the internal camera? wherever it is right now. Leave it in the laptop. Do not move it from there. This is it. I think I'm done. And be good. Be safe. See you next time. Guess what? I just remembered one more thing. Actually, it's not that I remember one more thing, but some of you probably are a lot more experienced and knowledgeable about cameras. And you're looking at this video and you go, wait, he didn't talk about dynamic range and low light performance and compression rates and a lot of other things. But I want you to keep in mind just this one thing. And that's, there are, if you just look at the resolution of a screen, not the resolution, the color capabilities of a screen, there are, if you look at RGB, there are 16 million combinations that the three main colors, red, green, and blue, RGB, each one of them with 256 combinations, can combine to create one of 16 million color combinations. This is not the level of this video. I'm not going to talk about 16 million combinations. I'm going to talk about red, green, yellow, blue, the basic colors. So I'm really talking about, in this video I talked about, and in the other videos, I'm talking about the higher level. For many of you who don't care much about knowing all the details and all the little fine things that you can distinguish one camera from another, like for example, why did I take the D3500 and not the D7500 or the D750? Because the 750 is so much better, obviously, because you're not going to see, your customers are not going to see the difference. I wanted to go with the four major capabilities or possibilities or options. I would throw in one more option I did not talk about, and that is to actually get a video camera that has an HDMI output. I just treat that just like a DSLR because they, for the most part, they have optical zoom and they have an HDMI output, so you need an adapter. So they're pretty much the same, with the exception is they don't turn off after 30 minutes. Anyway, that's just a comment I wanted to make. Don't think that I don't understand all the little subtleties. It just, they don't really matter at this point. Be good, be safe. I'll probably see you in like 2 seconds.